So, Guy, want to share the price point
Yes.
of your course?
Yes. So.
The mic for Guy,
Oh,
please,
okay.
and open it up. Yeah,
Uh,
switch it up. Yeah.
so, so my immediately thinking is how do I create a course that will immediately make a difference in a a, a business owner,
Yep.
and then I want to have the course entirely passive,
Yep.
and so I'm focusing on the first tier, 297,
Okay.
and
Boom, boom, ching, ching.
and then now it's just number one, how do I reach thousand of people? And number
We are
two,
going there. I know.
yes, number two, how do I pitch my message so that it has a high conversion rate once I reach those tens of thousand people?
Cool. We'll get there now. Thank you. Andres, want to share your tier?
Yeah.
Price point?
Something similar. I want to create a program,
Yep.
6 months or 3 months program
Yep.
where someone can improve in. This is the key, like the tricky point, because this is self-knowledge and personal growth. So,
Mhm.
a course that where someone can use their mind consciously to create the life they want.
Yep.
We were talking about like contrasting this with old psychology. Not, you don't need somebody to heal yourself. You don't need
Mhm.
somebody to tell you what to do. Basically, if you know these tools to use them yourself, you can achieve or get out of the place you don't want to be anymore.
Mhm. Yep.
I'm thinking on the first tier, and then we were discussing the price wise, because honestly I'm kind of like taking it cheap, so a lot of people can pay for it. But he was giving me a good perspective of how not cheap means wider. Sometimes it's just a matter of how you channel and how you expand.
Exactly. Exactly. Cheaper is not reaching more people. That's super important. Good insight. One more? Who wants to share? Price point? Shalisa? With the mic? Yeah.
So we came up with 77
Yep.
for the necklaces.
Okay, 77.
Is
Okay.
that seems like a powerful number.
Boom, you got it. Okay, so necklaces, and probably you can sell it on webinar, maybe just on a sales page, but you love talking, you are good on video, you have this charm, Shalisa. So I think that webinar is gonna be would be a good way for you. Yeah, to talk about that. Yeah, think about it.
Okay, so that 7 actually comes from a study that was made where they put a bunch of different prices, like say like 7, 7, and 9, just ending in one number, and they just found that more people would buy with the 7, even though, because when you think about, let's say 97 or 99, it's $2. Like, it's not really much of a difference, but psychologically, people would buy more with the 7, and hence there's a lot of products that just finish with 7. So that's kind of the science behind it. No. So that, but that's the whole stuff. That's the reasoning behind the 7.
Now we are going to the conversion rates we can expect, okay? So from webinars, the standard conversion rate is 1%. This means that everything will convert at 1%. No, if you are starting with this, you're gonna convert at 0.5%. If you are really good at this, you can get to 2, 3%. Okay, this is if you are really, really good and you have an extraordinary product with a really well-crafted offer, a no-brainer, an extraordinary offer that we were talking about before. Okay, you can go to 2, 3% conversion rate. And as well, it's about the quality of the leads that you have watching your webinar. If you are speaking with the right message, and the right product to the right people. Okay, and this is with practice and with time. But in the beginning, we will be focusing more on these conversion rates, but I like to go this one. It's the, when I was talking before, like these 1,300 students that we have data from them, we see that conversion rate of webinars is 1% to a lot of them. So let's stick to that. So if you are having a webinar with 10,000 people and you're having 1% conversion rate and 100 sales, you want to decide how much money you are making them, how much money you are saving them, or how much time you are saving them.
If you're dealing with birth, then you're dealing with, let's say it's a first-time mom. She's already going to be anxious about going into the delivery room or going into birth. So they're wanting to avoid any kind of pain. They're wanting to avoid any kind of impact, intense impact. And let's say if we're dealing with a second-time mom or And then we're dealing with a mom who's already gone through birth, and she probably already has those negative connotations from birth. So it's like removing them, not really removing them, but integrating them in a better way that she's able to digest them, right? So I think that's kind of what he's trying to say in terms of targeting of like, what are you selling? What are the points that you're trying to make so that she feels like, I need this so that I can move forward and move through, like, so I can have a better process of
Life.
birth.
Yeah, exactly. Then, for example, you might have a testimonial of somebody that says, look, with ayahuasca, or remember you were saying before the LSD of Phil Jackson, right? You come to a ceremony, you release trauma, you release ego death, whatever it is, and then boom, you achieve this. So you just explain the stories of what people achieve with your course. So it's like, look, people after my ceremony of ayahuasca or my trauma releasing, they achieved this. They were here, they had a blockage with money, for example, and they overcame that. They were here, losing a lot of time doing everything, and now they saved all this time because they, boom, released the trauma, and this happened. Yeah, and you can also work on the price, asking, yeah, with the mic. Yeah, you can also ask them, like you have surveys, so you ask them, okay, what's the price, or you try one price. These are all hypotheses. So you try the hypothesis of 497. You work it out, you see one time, twice, three times that is not working, you work it to 297. You see that the conversion rate eventually makes more income, because sometimes it's like, oh, less conversion rate. Yeah, but if the income you multiply it by 4 and the conversion rate went down by 2, well, maybe it's worth it, because you have twice the profit, right? So you want to, like the bubble gum, you want to test it, stretch it. But what I like to, when I put my first hypothesis here, is how much money I can make them, how much time I can save them, how much money I can save them. So it's about saving time and money or making money. And look for testimonials, look for stories of people that had any of these three. And again, avoiding pain as well, that's another one, that it's not monetary, but how much value do you give to releasing this pain, or how much pleasure you gain. So for example, so people are selling pleasure. Come here to this, let's say, massage, you may release the pain, you may have bliss, like extreme pleasure. So they are not going to make more money because of the massage, right? But they are having pleasure. So there you want to position yourself. Look at the different variables. The other thing you can do is look what's the price point of the market. Imagine you have an amazing book. It's like, okay, I want to sell a book at $4.97 because people with this book made this much amount of money. But we have to take into account that books, we have like a stipulated price here in our minds. So $4.97 for a book, it's cheap or it's expensive. But for a course, probably it's cheap. So again, we have different variables. Right now I'm going like quick with some parts that we can use, Ian, but we can go deeper. Afterwards, we can talk about that. Okay? Yeah. Solves a little bit more? Yeah, awesome. Testing, yeah, always. So let's say that Ian it's having a webinar with 10,000 leads here, okay? And with these 10,000 leads, he has a conversion rate of 1%, so it's 100 sales, okay? We do the math. And selling at $4.97, he's making 50,000 in a webinar, okay? You might be like, okay, how much money do I need for these 10,000 leads? It depends on your niche, okay? Hans, afterwards in that talk, he will talk about the prices on different niches on Facebook ads, but it can go from $1, $2, $3 per lead. So maybe it would be 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, okay, to get these leads. You are making the offer, you have 1% that is buying, 99% that is not buying. And here's the cool stuff, because you might be like, okay, I'm making 50,000, but imagine that I'm spending 30,000 in ads. It's 20%, it's 20,000 of net profit, right? From this 20,000, it's good because you can reinvest, but look, you created a list of 10,000 people that might not buy you at the first time, but they might need a second, or third, or fourth, or even 18 months. Seventh, okay? We are not giving up on somebody that entered our community, our list, our conversation until 18 months afterwards. We are not giving up because some people need 18 months of building trust to then buy from you, okay? And these 18 months comes from Erico Rocha. Erico has been in the courses and programs industry for 7 years now. The last launch he made, it was a virtual event of 3 days. Erico is in Product Launch Formula Brazil. Somebody here knows Jeff Walker? Okay, it's like Russell Branson, one of these marketers. So PLF, Product Launch Formula, Jeff Walker, is the creator, Jeff. And he has the US product in English. And then he has a franchise in Brazil, another in Italy, another in Japan, and another in Spanish. Okay, so in Spanish, I will talk about I will talk about that in a second. But in Brazil, Erico Rocha is the leader in Brazil, and they did a launch. We'll talk about this now. Launch. Okay, that they had 3,000 students. At $12,000. So if you make the math, it's in a weekend, 36 million. Okay? Why I'm explaining this? Because I was saying Erico Rocha from Brazil is the one who says that 18 months, it takes 18 months to a client, somebody to warm up, to trust you, etc., etc. And I want to make sure that everybody knows Erico on some of his numbers. This is the last launch he was doing now in December. So he knows about that shit. You know, he knows about marketing. So when Erico says, I have data of hundreds of thousands of emails in my list, because in this event, there were 12,500 people. He has the record Guinness for the biggest virtual event in Zoom in Brazil. Okay? So he knows about this stuff a little bit. Okay? And Jeff is the originator of that. Brazil is Erico Rocha. Erico, if you check Erico, he has like 1.45 million in Instagram and in YouTube, like more than 1 million followers there. And the Spanish franchise, it's Luis Carlos Flores, he's the leader, Luis Carlos and Rich, and Miquel is here in a part of the team. And we replicated this, and now I want to talk about the launch, and I will give you the numbers of the virtual event that we did in November, and the power of a launch. I want to see the power of a launch, okay? But this is coming in a second. Just I want to make sure that everybody of you is putting this number of leads. So if you are a beginner, I would go for, let's put three tiers. I would go for 2,000 people, 5,000 people if you are intermediate, and 10,000 people if you are more advanced, okay? So classify yourself in your notebook, when you're writing notes, which one are you? Okay, here. This is for a webinar still. Okay, now we are going to the launch. Attendance to the webinar, to a single webinar. You can do it every month, or you can make it every single week, or you can have a webinar every single day. But the thing is, I would say, now we will put it in a 12-month calendar. Remember, at the end, we will make all this work together. But the thing is, how much people you can have in your email list. Okay? No, these are leads. Yes, and then from this, the show-up rate, it's usually 20 to 25%. Yeah. So people, like, if you launch with 1,000 leads in your email list, 2,000 to 2,500 are going to be in your webinar, whether it's live or whether it's in replay. Okay? And then from this, they're going to convert much higher if you take this number, but we never take this number of the show-up rate. We always take this number of the total leads of your email list, of your launch list for the webinar. And then 1% is going to convert, so it's 100 sales at this price, it's going to be this. Okay? If you are launching with 5,000 people, so it's going to be 25,000. Okay? And do the math with the rest. So if you want to know more or less the power that you have in your business and how much money can you make in each webinar, just use those numbers, crunch it on a calculator. For example, in the EOS, we have a calculator for webinars, we have a calculator for launches, and we have a calculator for this one that I will explain now. So this calculator explains exactly what are the predictions that you can make here, so you can know how much money you can put in ads without losing money, how much money can you put in a team without losing money, how much to expect, the ROI, and the ROAS, which is different. The ROI takes into account all the expenses involved in a launch. So for example, if you need a team, if you need to build other automations, etc., that's ROI. ROAS, it's just the return on ad spending. So ROAS is just purely money in ads. Let's say you're investing here 10K, 20K, 30K, and you take this number here, and it's like, okay, 50,000 less minus 20K, it's 30K. Then you take the ROAS. But then you also need to take into account other expenses, okay? So this would be ROAS, this and this is ROAS, and when you take into account the email marketing, platform, etc., it's ROI. So ROI, return on investment, and the other return on ad spending, okay? So you want to make sure that as a business owner, before executing anything with your team and moving forward and being like, team, we are going to launch a webinar, you want to remember the vision magnet that we talked before, the what and the why. It's like, guys, girls, we are shooting in this direction. We are going to have, our goal is to have 10,000 leads here because we'll have an offer, we'll convert at 1%, we'll have 100 sales, we'll sell at this ticket, and we'll make this. So the payoff is this, and this is at stake if we are not, this is what will happen if we don't accomplish this. So also the worst case scenario. Okay, so everybody before enrolling in that vision with you, it's like they know the pros, the cons, and what's the payoff. So it's a good way to move forward all the team and to go the extra mile, because sometimes here things happen when you build a webinar and you need to work last minute, and it's like, wow, you need to be there rowing in the same direction. Results in webinar. For me, webinars work really, really well. For example, first webinar, when I was in this first year here, in this one with 2,000 leads, I was making around 5K. Then I did another one, which I was here in between. In this one, I made 7K. And then when I launched, it was a bit like here. It was like 8K people in my email list. In that one, it was 10K. This is in euros. So for dollars, it's a bit different, but it makes the point. Okay? So these are for webinars. But then I realized that webinars is not the most powerful way you can launch. Webinars are good because are easy to systematize. You can also work them automatically. It's the best way I know to run passively. So if you want to automate something passively, and for example, a course that you sell live, and when you are with coaching and with live sessions, etc., at 497, maybe you want to remove these live sessions in your offer, and you want to leave it just with a pre-recorded course, 100% automatic, and you want to move it to 297, for example. So then you put it in a webinar that it's on automatic. So it's what I call the self-paid funnel. So you want to make sure you have a webinar in your calendar, your year calendar. You can also have a self-paid funnel, which is a webinar that you put ads to a landing page that people register, landing page, that then people with emails go to your webinar page, okay? That webinar page, you pitch the offer, and people here buy. So the product, the extraordinary product, people buy here, and if they are not buying here, they just go to an email sequence that's pointing in that direction. So they receive emails, emails, emails. Remember the follow-up sequence that we were talking about? So people go here. If they don't buy, they just go to a pool of emails of people you will keep nurturing, keep building a relationship. Remember, 18 months here, up to 18 months, hopefully before, they are going to convert. And if they eventually buy, it's here. So this is all automatic because you put ads, you have this money here, and as soon as you have this money here, you reinvest in ads. Okay? Yep.
When I see this, I'm thinking about all the emails in my inbox that I am deleting,
Mm-hmm.
and that when I see now notifications like sign up for our email list, I don't do it anymore because it's oversaturated.
Yep.
So I'm now in the process of eliminating emails and not having, like, I don't like having a bunch of emails coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm seeing being created now is a new space or like a new way of marketing, because this is oversaturated.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you have the answer, but I think it'd be worth exploring, like, what is next after? Like, what's beyond the traditional email marketing
Mhm.
system? So maybe
Yeah, my answer would be email. I mean, if you are feeling like you don't want to join the newsletter, it's because the promise is not attractive. Because if the promise is attractive, you follow. Not the newsletter. It's not a matter of sending a lot of emails to people, but the purchase comes from email. The other marketing source that you are asking for me, social media. Retargeting on social media is like putting pennies and getting dollars. It has an amazing return, the retargeting on social media. So you want to point people back to all the steps, because if they are not seeing email, are you on Instagram? Do you use Instagram every day? We can find you on Instagram. Who came here for an ad or something that you saw? You saw an ad? Right? Or WhatsApp? Okay. Because we are putting ads, because people is in social media. Yeah.
I just I haven't done this yet, but I know with text message marketing, you're
Yeah.
actually getting about, and I know people that are getting about 70% response rate,
Mhm.
right? So when I said same thing when you get the emails, now what we're building is we get their phone number too.
Yep.
Because now every time that we even send an email, we're also text messaging because we're checking our phone all the time. And the
Correct.
response rate to that is 70% from really good sources. So I haven't personally done it, but I know there's people that are actively using it, and then they'll have links right in the text message, takes you to, it's the sales
Yeah,
funnel
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much, right?
Correct.
So it just, you put the link, it takes you to the sales funnel, you're pixeling them, and then you're retargeting them.
Correct.
So
I think these are all complementary ones to the email. Email still is king when it comes to sequences, because it can be easily automated. I think SMS it's a good add-on. Then Facebook Messenger chat, again, it's another add-on. WhatsApp group, Telegram group, etc. And then retargeting on social media.
what platforms do you use to send out mass emails to your contacts?
You can choose a lot of them. There's MailChimp to start, but I use ActiveCampaign, for example. There's HubSpot, there's Infusionsoft, there's ConvertKit, GetResponse, Drip works really well as well. I used Drip before for a year. You have tons of them. Hmm? No, there are tons. There are more than I don't know for sure that are really good, because every day they appear, right? But eventually, I'm talking about here the strategy. Okay, I'm here to talk about the strategy. EOS, the extraordinary operating system, it's about strategy. Then the tactics, you fill out the tactics. Okay, I can give you some details on tactics, but eventually this works, and this is what you put, for example, here $100 in ads. Okay, and eventually you are selling a product that is roughly $100. Okay, so all this money here, you're reinvesting it here. So you're getting free leads. This is the self-paid funnel. Some people call it self-liquidating funnel. So it's a free lead generation, and I'm solving Eduardo's question before that you were talking about. How can I create lead generations? The self-paid funnel is the best option. Okay, so yeah, you put 100, but then the thing is, if you put 1,000, okay, and people is converting at 1%, it's 10 people, right? 10 sales. At 100 product, it's again $1,000. So boom, you see, it's self-paid. So then you can move this to 5K, and then exactly, and then with this you are having these 2,500 leads, 5,000 leads, and you generate leads, then you put in this pool. And then this is where the magic comes, because you can run a webinar and you can apply everything that we saw before, or you can sign people for a lunch. That this is powerful. So our strategy for this 2021 is to release at least 12 self-paid funnels and to test which one of those work the best. We will test them between $97 and $197. So my focus is to build little courses that are 100% automatic for different parts that bring people into our EOS, the extraordinary operating system that is our core program. Okay, so we want to offer, for example, automations. We want to offer high-ticket sales. We want to offer how is it called? The sequences, the copywriting. We want to offer the ads. We want to offer different parts, so people can come and solve one problem and then be like, wow, there's more. And then we can have this conversation. If they want more, fantastic. If they don't want more, they have the product, we deliver, because it's each one of these, even though it's 97, it's going to be an extraordinary product that accomplishes the promise that we say. And we'll keep running this as a generator, lead generator, okay? So this is number one, self-paid funnel plus webinar. So before going to the break, add what's the revenue you could get from your webinar. So count the leads, okay? How many leads are you setting yourself a goal? Okay, write that down. How many leads are you going to have in your webinar? Okay. Then what's the price of your product? Okay. Then use the 1% conversion rate. Let's use the standard. And what's the number of sales revenue that you are getting there? You have the number? Have the number, have the number, have the number. You got it? Okay, what's the number? Just for an easy test. So you have a number, and then you can work on that. You can either increase the ticket of your product, so you can increase the number. You can focus on increasing the conversion rate, so the number goes up, or you can increase the number of people that sees your webinar, so the number goes up, or all of them. Okay? You have a number? Yes? 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 25 grand? Okay, in your webinar, cool. Who else? 4,000? 4,000? Okay, 25 grand. Okay. So now that you have this number, think about having 4 webinars per year. Okay? Let's multiply this number, take the number and multiply by 4 and give me what's the result? Okay, you prepare for 4 webinars a year. Yeah, 120, 120, this one roughly 20K, right? And this one is 100K. Okay? So, take this number, keep it, let's go for the lunch break, and then we'll see with these two how it adapts to get to 250K a year, and then I will tell you the strategy that I will follow and the strategies that work really well when combining all these 3, so you can, when you are stopping for a webinar and preparing for the next one, have something in between. It's like crops and the soil. Okay, you want to nurture, and when you sow, right? You plant and then you sow something. You want to plant something else, so then nurturing and and the seasons. Okay, so we will talk about the calendar as well. Why September? It's a good way. It's a good month to launch. January it's a good month to launch, etc., etc.